Hey, and welcome to Daddy Mojo. It's the podcast where we'll talk about parenting, all-age comic books, toys, and more. Now, here's your host, Trey Burley.
Wrestling is only as good as its heel. Its villain, its bad guy. And the problem with some illustrated books is that the hero is never going to have a physical villain to confront itself. That's one thing that this book does really well because it has Marie Curie, obviously the scientist, the first woman to receive the Nobel Peace Prize for her work in physics and chemistry. But she never really had an evil demon facing her. Granted, she had some problems with the times. She was a woman in a field that was dominated by men. It was the turn of the century, and sanitary conditions, were not good. She wasn't wealthy. She had to pay for her own schooling. So every time Marie Curie had some doubt or some speed bumps in her life, she had to kind of push on. Persistence. This is Marie Curie and the Power of Persistence. It's book number 2 in the My Super Science Heroes. It's got illustrations by Annalisa Beghelli with text by Carla Valenti with some assistance by Michaela Crespo Quesada, PhD. And it's a smart book. That's the other thing that adults, more so than the kids, are really going to take away from it. The adults are going to say, this is a very smart book that teaches the power of persistence in a very non-preachy way, because I'm very sensitive to books that preach, and so are kids, elementary school kids especially. When they pick up on books that are preachy, they can immediately tune out. It's amazing when you have story time and you read these books to them, these books that are preachy. They're well-intended, but they're preachy. Man, those kids drop like gravity. It's crazy. But this book, though, it sets up a big bad nemesis. And every time that Marie Curie has some difficulty in her life, the big bad nemesis is there. In her childhood, in her formative years, in her college years, and even in her post-academic careers when she's studying chemistry before her Nobel Peace Prize. It's there, but she always defeats it. And it's really great. Did you know she retired basically for 10 years and then went back to schooling? Crazy. She paid for her own schooling. She and her sister went to school in an underground fashion because ladies at that time weren't allowed to study the higher levels that she was studying. See, that's why I say this is an illustrated book that's really smart. It's way smarter than it looks. Way smarter than it looks. You can tell I teach English Lit for a living, can't you? Marie Curie and the Power of Persistence. This is an illustrated book that's going to reach far beyond its years. It is for elementary school ages, but the text and the lessons that it teaches is going to be stuff that those students will hold on to for all their lives, and it may even help them catch the STEM bug, which is never a bad thing to catch.
Thanks for listening to Daddy Mojo. Be sure to tune in next time. For more information on any of the things we talked about today, just check out the website, daddymojo.net, or hit us up at Daddy Mojo on social media.